Today we're going to be talking about my RGB lights. First off, in the link, if you're interested, I did leave the Amazon link to the RGB lights that I am talking about. I purchased my first pair of these lights to test them out to see if I could use them for my needs. I am going to be addressing and showing you how I have my lights set up here because it is pretty much a budget setup. One of the things that I picked up that maybe a lot of photographers, you know, when they're starting out and things like that have and pick up and then end up not using is one of these Amazon $30 soft boxes. They're just a big continuous light. The bulb looks similar to like one of these fluorescent bulbs here, but in a much larger scale. So they sell you a softbox with an oversized fluorescent bulb, and it's usually mostly almost 100% of the time way too much light for what's actually needed, but it still has a pretty good construct of the actual softbox. Actually, one of the things to note so that you could actually see it better is that I have full control over my RGB lights here. At a touch of a button, I can change the entire setup. Like I have my dark mode, which a lot of people like, where I shut off all the lights. I have another one here with green. I have all blue, and then the one that I usually use as my live stream. Now I'm gonna turn on all the lights in full power so that we can have a better look at the softbox that I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm gonna go full power, which makes everything really bright, and I'm going to scoot over my camera so that we can see. Now, not my finger, but the softbox right here. Okay, I literally have directing towards the back wall, so I'm gonna move my hand so that you can see it. Okay, and inside that softbox, originally what I had was actually one of the RGB bulbs, which I'm about to present to you and show you what we're talking about. Let me go back to the live streaming setup here. See, it's kind of over bright right now, but these are the Wi-Fi bulbs, 7 watts. And this is what they look like. Very simple. They have this little green indicator. They connect via Wi-Fi, and I purchased 2 to test them out. Right away, what I did was I was able to put one of these bulbs into that softbox that I mentioned, and I was able to get it to work as a key light. But whenever I used a color of the RGB, the color that was being produced from the bulb was not enough to actually go through the softbox and be effective in any way. I did notice that they were functional, but it wasn't functioning in that softbox, and that's when I decided to go with a completely different aspect. And what I did was I purchased an adapter that converted the one connector or the one inlet for the bulbs here in that softbox, and I pulled out a 4 bulb connector. So the 4 bulb connector now allows me to put 4 of these Wi-Fi bulbs onto that softbox, and now when I control all 4 of the bulb in the colors in unison, then it gives me plenty of light using that softbox, which is what you're seeing cast the magenta over my right shoulder or to your left, I believe. All right, once I was able to accomplish that and see that that was a viable source to actually be my key light, I decided, because of the price and the functionality of these bulbs, to basically replace all the bulbs in my entire studio here to actually be of these Wi-Fi bulbs. Now, the Wi-Fi bulbs have an application that I run right from my iPhone, which is what I'm pressing, but through the iPhone, I'm also able to set it as voice commands. I can tell, "Hey Siri, lights out," and turns off all the lights. But then I can say, "Hey Siri, live stream lights." Completely touch free. I have the ability to completely, and I mean completely, control all of the lights here in the studio. I am going to show you the application that I'm using as well, but we'll get to that in a second. What I did was I created some small soft boxes here using a desk lamp and some foam board, and I put 1 RGB light, one of these bulbs in each with a diffuser, and that is actually my main key lights. I actually had set up 2 of these same bulbs behind my monitors. So I have 2 monitors that, you know, I use for my computers here on both right and left, and I was able to hang one of these bulbs behind it when I'm doing the live stream setup to actually kick up some more light as like key light or ambient light right here. For me, I actually set the two lights that are behind the monitors to 100% white just to match these, and I have a glow that's coming, hitting from the back of the wall and then coming and casting and kind of filling in this light here underneath to kind of show more separation between my beard and my clothing. Now, with that being said, the light is so controlled here that it allows me to just create like a dark wall immediately behind me and allow me to cast simple colors all over the walls. Now, one thing that Doc Rock, which is somebody that I also follow, great channel, he just passed 10,000 subscribers, so big ups to Doc Rocks, congratulations once again. He recently went through this whole charade of painting his office or his studio, and he was looking to get the perfect color gray that was just perfect for casting these colors on walls. I guess I lucked out. I didn't go so in depth as he did. I didn't spend 3 months, but I also didn't have the resources that he had. Apparently he had a bunch of friends who were helping him out. I was able to get a good enough color of just neutral gray without any blue hues on it, and I maximized that with primer paint. Now, I mentioned this because all of my walls here have this color gray, and that's what allows me to change the colors and have the colors really pop using these RGB bulbs. So even though I had previously mentioned the bulbs and the lighting setup in previous live streams, not going as in depth as I am now, changing the paint on the walls, because once I got in here initially the walls were like brown, and I knew that that was just, you know, like dark colors are just gonna soak up the light instead of reflect it and bounce it off. The first thing that I did before I moved any furniture in here was do all of the painting and knock that out of the way, so that whatever I did end up decide doing, even if it was just for photography or anything like that, you know, flashing light off of a neutral gray wall is ideal comparative to any other color, even all white. So it's something that I have that Doc Rock recently did to his office, and he emphasized on it, and it made me realize that these are things that I take for granted and I've never mentioned before, but these are steps that I took prior to getting any of the colored lights that I use in my setup, because it's something that's very key and vital to actually get this setup to work correctly. Now that I actually have lights being cast in the right directions, I'm gonna go to my second setup here. Okay, and today I actually switched it up because I normally have my 24mm, which is this look that we have going on here, but I switched it up to my Quantaray 19mm to 35, and because it's parfocal and it's like an old school vintage lens, it's manual focus when it comes to video, and once you set it you can forget it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out here and extend this. This is 19mm, so this is really nice, especially how close this camera is to me. So it's literally like right here. So now the reason why is to show you that I just took a, like, I think I got this at Walmart. This is a, you know, just like a utility lampshade, and I have it clamped up there right with that right onto the shelf. So that's my gaming shelf. Those are all my video games that I've collected through the years. We'll get to that some other day if you guys are interested. I was able to just add, and let me just yank at it, so to speak. So that way you can see nothing special, just light, and having this bulb with no diffusion basically directed in the right direction. That's all I did there, and because these lights are wireless, it's not like I have to go to any of these fixtures and actually turn them on and off manually, because of the simple fact that they're all controlled via the app. So like I said, all I do is mention it to Siri to say lights out, and all the lights go out. One light that was missing, let me go to the other angle here, is the blue light that's casting in between. Now the blue light that's casting in between, I didn't have anything at the moment to actually like host, so this is what I mentioned in my previous stream, which I called my monster light, and I'm mentioning it because I'm gonna unplug it and bring it to you just to show you exactly what I did. So this is what I call the monster light. Let me see if it focuses. You can see there, it is a monster can, and I just added the back end of an IKEA like make your own lamp. The cable is literally just running around the side, and I have it wrapped up with gaff tape. That is filled with what you're gonna hear is just some pennies to have the weight there and have that just connected via cable. And like I said, because it's Wi-Fi, as soon as it's plugged in, it goes on, and I have it completely controlled with the app. Now, I'm going to show you guys the app next. I am going to jump into the app right now, but one thing I did want to mention is this light that I also have here. This light, I have it as a high-powered spotlight, and the spotlight, I have it with a snoot. A snoot is kind of like a cone shape to actually control the light so that the light doesn't spill anywhere. It's very similar to like a grid box, like a grid, or actually I could show you the one that I made. Now, what I'm showing you here is a grid that I made from foam board. So there we go. That's so close to the camera, wow. But as you can see, it's foam board, and I made this for my key light here when I want to control more of the light, make it more directional. And that's basically what the snoot does. It just casts this blue light that you see here, and what that does is that it separates me from the lights in the background. If it weren't on, you could really notice the difference, but that is what's separating me from all of the lights in the background. Now I'm gonna go to the application. Boom. Okay, so yeah, this is the application. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I have everything named. Now, the grayed out key light number 4 here. Let me move this actually. There we go. Now, we're looking at the application here. As you can see, the desk lamp is my key light here. So I turn it off, and you can see right away that shuts off. I'm gonna turn that back on. My key light number 1 here. Actually, the keys that you see, the red, those are the ones that are casted in the softbox. As you can see, it says key 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's because those are the key lights that are all inside of the softbox. That box giving 100% of light would mean that all 4 of the lights that I have there are going to be producing 100% of the light. If I want to go 50%, the one thing that these lights do is that if you dim them down, they will start to flicker in the cameras, because what it does is that it actually starts creating less flickers that will be more noticeable. It's almost like slowing down, like going from a full sprint to jogging, and that's how these RGB lights work. So as soon as you put them down basically from 100%, they will actually start to flicker. So to prevent that, what I do is, to get 50% of the key light, is I actually shut 2 of the lights down. If I shut down 3 of them, that means we're shooting 25% of the potential 100% in the softbox. But with that being controlled in that manner, because of the conversion that I created into that softbox, that actually gives me full control of 25, 50, 75, and 100% on these lights without sacrificing any flicker at a budget price comparative to anything that you would find even in the Godox field to get an equivalent type of remote control on a softbox on a standard like continuous key light. Now, the reason why I don't use that light here on this setup and I had to create it is because the wall is literally just inches behind the camera. There is no space to put that anywhere near this setup and actually have it working correctly and giving me the light in the correct area. That's why I decided to hang it up there and actually use it for the ambient light that you're seeing on the live streams. It's worked out really good. With that being said, I'm gonna go back to the app. As you can see right on the top, you can name every single one. As you can see, I have TV light 1 and TV light 2. Ceiling 1 and 2 is because, yeah, I have 2 ceiling lights right up there, which I forgot to mention. Like I said, when I said I replaced every single light here, every single light. I'm about to do the bathrooms because why not? I have every single light named. This is how you control them in that aspect individually. The next step that you have is groups, which you can see I have the ceiling light, the 2 lights that are there, both named 1 and 2, controlled into that small group. That allows me to turn them on and off, as you can see, from a click of a button whenever you want to control all of them. Like if I just want to control the key light and I just wanted to shut those off, It's a click of one button, and then just below that are all of my scenes. As you can see here, I have quite a few. Like I mentioned, dark mode, that shuts that off. All on, full power, gives all the brightness. And then the live stream, which gives my colors. Elysia Way, that's what I've named this one. So Elysia, shout out to you with the green and blue colors, because we live, playa. And that's basically how you control it. Now, when you create the scenes here within the application is when you're actually able to link up the voice command that you want with it. Within any of these, you would actually long press it, because I don't think I have anything set up for Christmas. So I would hit edit here, as you can see, and we go down here to the batch settings for Siri. I can type out Christmas lights, and now we're gonna add that to Siri. Okay, and that's how simple it is. Now that's added to the setup. So now I can just say, hey Siri, Christmas lights.
Okay, done. Perform scene Christmas successful.
And that's how simple that is. Hey Siri, live stream lights.
Okay, done. Perform scene livestream successful.
And that's how I use this application with these RGB lights to control my entire setup here. Now I'm gonna go back to the chat to see if you guys have any questions about my budget live stream setup. Okay.